What's going on, guys? It's Clutch Hoops here, and today we're going to be ranking the top 5 prospects in the 2020 NBA Draft. The last ranking I did on the top 5 prospects was about 2 months ago, and a lot has changed. In this ranking, there are a couple new players rising into the top 5 who weren't here just under 2 months ago. On top of this, there's been a lot more clarity on some of the top prospects, and it has become even more evident of who the top players in this draft class are. Even though it's more clear towards the top, there are so many players who could be slated in for the final 2 spots of the ranking. At the end of the video, I will give a few honorable mentions to certain players and explain why they just missed out on the top 5. Before I get into the video though, I'm about 25 subscribers away from 1,000, so if you've been enjoying my content, I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe and help me get to this huge milestone. So with that out of the way, let's get right into the video. Number 5, Obi Toppin. My second video on this channel is why Obi Toppin was extremely underrated, and since then he has seen significant increases in his stock. Obi is a 6'9", 220-pound power forward who is currently a 22-year-old sophomore. This season at Dayton, Obi has helped lead his squad to a 29-2 record, and they are currently on a 20-game win streak. In 31 minutes per game, Obi is averaging 20 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 assists on 63% from the field and 39% from three-point range. These numbers are the reason he was named the best player in all of college basketball, and it's become clear that he deserves to be taken in the first half of the lottery. Obi's game translates to the NBA better than any other prospect in the entire NBA draft because his main strengths are his three-point shooting, his pick-and-roll game, and his athleticism. Obi is currently shooting the 3-ball at 39%, and he has been able to space the floor well at Dayton. With Obi's three-point shooting ability, he is much more deadly in the pick-and-roll game because he can roll to the rim or pop out to the three-point line. He's the most explosive big man in the entire draft class when around the rim, and is a great finisher as well. On top of this, he is a huge lob target due to his vertical explosiveness, and he will get very easy buckets if paired with a great playmaking point guard. To continue, Obi has a developed post game where he has a successful spin move and hook shot that is very effective on anyone his size or smaller. He has shown that he has the capability to make short jumpers in the post as well, making him even harder to guard. My favorite part about Obi's game is his effort on the offensive side of the ball. He's one of the first people running out in transition and puts himself in great positions to get easy buckets, whether it's giving the ball handler good passing angles or sealing off smaller defenders. He was one of the best cutters in all of college basketball and was great at slipping screens, which will lead to easy buckets in the NBA. There are so many positives about his game, however, he definitely skips leg day because his lower body is very weak, he struggles shooting off the dribble, he's a below average passer, and a poor perimeter defender. These things are relatively fixable, and if he can improve upon these things, then there is a good chance of him becoming a star. People may be scared of his age, but his play at Dayton this year makes him deserving of a top 5 pick. Number 4, Killian Hayes. People are still sleeping on Killian Hayes, but expect him to rise as the draft approaches. Killian is a 6'5" point guard currently playing in Germany where he averages 12 points and 5 assists per game. Killian may be the most pure point guard in the entire draft as he is the leader on his team in Germany as an 18-year-old. Being so young, Killian does have some issues with turnovers as he averages 3 per game, but his offensive game is so developed for someone of his age. He already uses his Euro step very well around the rim, he has an incredible step back move to create separation, and he is a magician in the pick and roll game. When driving with his left hand, he uses his 6'5" length to make any pass he wants and can use his advanced offensive arsenal to get to the rim or create separation for a jump shot. Some people are concerned about Killian's shot because he shoots 29% from three-point range, but his form translates to the NBA very well, and most importantly, he shoots free throws at 88%. For an 18-year-old to shoot 88% on free throws is special, and it's one of the best indications that his shot will translate to the NBA. His finishing around the rim with his left hand is pretty incredible, and he has shown some serious promise finishing with his right hand. However, Killian is almost scared to attack the rim with his right hand and almost always settles for jump shots. The times when he's been aggressive and has attacked the rim with his right hand, he's been able to draw fouls and or finish the play, but Killian will need to gain more confidence in his right hand. Killian doesn't have elite athleticism, but his length will allow him to be an average defender in the NBA. All in all, the French 18-year-old has so much potential to be a franchise point guard, but due to his underdeveloped left hand, he will be one of the bigger projects in the entire draft. Number 3, Onyeka Okongwu. The 6'9" power forward / center out of USC has really elevated his play and draft stock as of recent. In each game, Onyeka has a huge impact on his team and is flat out the best player on the floor. It's hard to explain the impact that he has on USC in words, but he has the 3rd best plus minus in all of college basketball. Also, keep in mind he's a freshman on an average USC team, so it's not like they're blowing out opponents. His impact on the defensive side of the ball is evident in every single possession, and he is a beast in the pick and roll game. Onyeka Okongwu went to Chino Hills and was part of the infamous team with the 3 Ball brothers, where he developed insanely good hands. NBA point guards will love playing with him because he will catch anything that's thrown his way. On top of this, he rolls to the rim with force and is a relentless finisher. His rebounding skills are incredible, and even though he's 6'9", he uses his strength and 7-foot plus wingspan to dominate the boards. At USC this past season, he averaged 16 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 blocks in 31 minutes per game. He is incredibly efficient in all facets of his game, and he has shown that he can be a top-tier NBA rim protector. Onyeka's post-game is very advanced for a 19-year-old, and he has constantly been adding new things to his game. He has significantly improved in these past 2 years, and there is no reason to believe that these rapid improvements will stop anytime soon. There is also promise for Onyeka on the perimeter, as he shoots free throws at a bit over 70%. Once/if Onyeka develops a respectable jump shot, he will become deadly on the offensive side of the floor and will be a go-to option for his team. All in all, Onyeka has so many positives about his game, which is why he is rapidly rising in draft boards and becoming a top 5 pick lock. Number 2, Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards did not have the prettiest finish to his college season, which has definitely hurt his draft stock. At Georgia, Anthony Edwards averaged 19 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists on 40% from the field and 29% from three-point range. Similar to Killian, his jump shot will translate very well to the NBA, even though he shoots very poorly in college. He has a pretty poor shot selection and settles too much for hard shots instead of attacking the rim with his monstrous 6'5", 225-pound frame. Anthony Edwards may be the most athletically gifted player in the draft class, which he uses to his advantage in his game. The part of the game where Anthony excels the most is in transition, where he has been able to use his length, strength, and passing abilities to get easy shots for himself and his teammates. He is great with the ball in his hands when attacking the rim, but Georgia has a very ball-dominant point guard who would rarely give up the ball. Anthony would hide during some games at Georgia and settle too much for jump shots instead of attacking the rim, where he's nearly unstoppable. When Anthony is aggressive and takes things into his own hands, he is able to take over games and becomes unstoppable. In his defense, at Georgia he was seeing so much defensive attention, and some teams would even play a box-and-one on him. This is where some of his inconsistency comes from, and is a big reason why he has such low shooting percentages. On the defensive side of the ball, Anthony Edwards has so much potential because of his athletic gifts, but he needs to become way more consistent giving help and locking down his man. All in all, Anthony has all the physical tools in the world to be an NBA superstar, but he needs to be much more consistent and exert more effort to do so. He is still 18 years old and should be a high school senior right now, so he has so much room to improve his game. Number 1, Lamelo Ball. Lamelo Ball has moved up to my number 1 prospect in the entire 2020 NBA draft because of his insane potential. Lamelo may be the most unique prospect we have ever seen coming out of the NBA draft because he has so many elite skills for an 18-year-old. He may be the best passer we have ever seen coming out of the draft, as he can make any pass with ease. He made extremely risky passes in Australia, but continually placed the ball in perfect positions and only averaged 2.5 turnovers in 31 minutes per game. Lamelo averaged 17 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists in Australia, but more importantly, he showed insane amounts of improvement during his time there. I've probably said this 100 times by now, but in his final 4 games, he averaged 25 points and 8 assists per game. In these games, his team went 2-2 and showed that he is a winning player because his team was 5-23 in total. Lamelo has shown that he can finish well around the rim, lead in offense, and control the game with his dribbling. Lamelo only shot 25% from three-point range and a bit less than 40% from the field in Australia, which will need to improve in the NBA. He did increase his percentages as the season went on, but he also needs to improve his shot selection significantly. To continue, on the defensive side of the ball, Lamelo has shown at times to lock down his defender, but he's been taught his entire life that defense just doesn't matter. His growing 6'7" frame should allow him to be a great defender, but he will need to exert effort on both sides of the ball. The huge swing factor about Lamelo's game is his shot, and if he can keep defenders honest with the pick and roll game, he will be a star. All in all, Lamelo Ball has so much talent, and if he can tweak a couple things about his game, which should be easy fixes, he will be a special player in the NBA. He's only 18 years old and he has never had true coaching, so coming into the NBA with the best coaching in the world will be huge for his game. Now, the honorable mentions. These are my top 5 players in the 2020 draft class, but some notable names that were left off the list were James Wiseman, Denny Advidia, and Tyrese Halliburton. James Wiseman has so many holes about his game, and many people are blinded by his physical profile and inflated college stats. He clogs the paint, has terrible hands, and has disgustingly terrible defensive instincts. He needs to show a lot of improvement during the draft process, because the more I look into him, the worse it gets. Denny or Obi Toppin was a very hard call, but due to Obi Toppin's extremely high floor and great fit in the NBA, I put him over Denny. Finally, Tyrese Halliburton is too average at everything for him to be considered a top 5 2020 NBA draft prospect in my opinion. Tell me what you guys thought about these rankings and if there's anything that you disagree with. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we are so close to 1,000 subs, so please subscribe if you haven't already. Now with that said, I'm out, and peace!